So this is our last confirmation in this building. Next one will be, have you guys figured out where you're going to get lunch now that we move? I think there's a Jersey Mike's like right through the if you go through cut through the apartments there. There's a Jersey Mike's on the other side. I don't know what else is right there. And then we got to wait 2 years for you guys to get some more restaurants. But they're supposed to be announcing that. So for Avenue 1, like that front corner, like right up on Dodge, they're announcing the 7 restaurants that are coming in here soon. If you drop down to Center, you can get Chick-fil-A's closed on Sundays. There's a Chipotle. There's a Sonic. Arby's, Taco Bell, McDonald's. All that health food. You guys are going to have to get new lunches. Hey, do you have a soccer game today? Maybe you just like to wear it. Maybe you just like to wear it. Let everybody know. Why are you 28? Is that a lucky number, or is that just what you had to get? What number would you get? 5? You don't have a lucky number? You don't have a lucky jersey number? Well, maybe you need one. Our question for today is one for parent and student, and you have to say what you are most thankful about for the other. What is the one thing you are most thankful of for the other? Today we're going to talk about being content and thankful. So we're going to practice with you saying, this is what I am most thankful for about this person. And try not to make it self-serving, like they make me smile or they make me happy, because that's just about you. What is something you are genuinely thankful for that person? And you still have 45 seconds to think. Because of spring break, I think we still got some room at tables. We're not going to fill up, so if anybody wants to move to a table so they can write better, go make a friend, squeeze in at a table. Only 6 Bible verses today, so that'll be quick. Does anyone have confirmation questions coming up? We'll just walk through everything real quick. Yeah, go ahead. You get to pick either 8 or 11. So we'll tell everybody that, because the confirmation service is a little longer, so we'll tell everybody that doesn't want to go to 9:30. And then you can, because I know that, Concordia, basketball, a bunch of those girls have to go that weekend. It's always the same weekend. So they all come to the 8 o'clock one. But we'll let you choose 8 or 11. And, yeah, on the first Sunday in June. I believe it's the 1st? June 1st, yeah. Any other questions about confirmation coming up? So I'll just walk through it real quick. Next month, we have our last meeting. That's the weekend after Easter, so April 27th. That one, the 7th graders are only going to be there for the first 30 minutes. We're going to wrap it up with what is the overall theme of the commandments. And then we're going to ask all those that are getting confirmed, so the 8th graders or 9th graders, to stay for a little while longer. And we're just going to remind you of communion practices, because we talked about that last year. That was that part. And so we'll remind you about all that so you're ready for your first communion with us. And then what happens is at that meeting, you will sign up. I'll have a list there. You'll have a sign up for coming to shoot your testimony video. And that'll be sometime in the month of May. And so we'll have set up times for you. And so if you want to start thinking about it, You pick your Bible verse that means something to you, and you're just going to share like 1 minute of like, this is the Bible verse that I want to share, and this is how I've seen this work in my life. This is what I've seen God do in my life. Just whatever your little minute-long testimony of, because confirmation is your chance to say, this isn't my parents' faith, this is my faith. This isn't my parents' church, this is my church. This is what I believe. And so you pick your verse, you talk about it for like a minute of what it means to you and how you see God work. We record it. You can take as many takes as you need to take. It helps if you kind of practice it ahead of time. We've had those kids that kind of walk in and wing it. That does not usually go well. So practice it a little bit ahead of time. Come in, you record it, and then we're set. So that'll be the month of May. So if you're like a 7th grader, you're done for this year at the end of the next one in April. And then that first Sunday in June, you guys come up and get confirmed. Once again, that'll be at the new space, so that'll be awesome. So we'll have to figure out where everybody sits and moves and all that. And then for 7th graders, we'll start back up in August for the then 8th graders. So any comments or questions on confirmation? Okay, so next one's in the new building, which is exciting. We'll see how that goes. All of you, I'll make you sit up front because that's a big room. So, all right, did everybody get a sheet? They're up front. Everybody get a sheet? All right, we only got like 6 Bible verses, so let's hand them out and then we'll talk. James 4, who's got that one? James 4? Thank you, Finn. Hebrews 13. Hebrews 13. Come on now. All right, thank you, Kim. Proverbs 10. Thank you. Psalm 107. Thanks, Jet. Psalm 37. Come on, last one. Thank you, Zane. All right. So we are combining the 9th and 10th commandments today because they're the coveting commandments. So they talk about the same theme, but just different parts. So I'm going to read to you the first 2 parts there. Read with me the 9th commandment. 1, 2, 3. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. So what does this mean? I'll read this. We should fear and love God so that we do not scheme to get our neighbor's inheritance or house or get it in any way which only appears right, but help and be of service to him in keeping it. Once again, it's Martin Luther that writes the what does this mean, taking each commandment a little deeper. And then the 10th commandment, say it with me, 1, 2, 3. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, his maid servant or maid servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. What does this mean? You should fear and love God so that we do not entice or force away our neighbor's spouse, workers, or animals, or turn them against him. Do not turn your animals against him. That would be awful. But urge them to stay and do their duty. And so this is what God lays out in the 9th and 10th commandment. And so we're going to talk about what all this means. So the first big question there, what does covet mean? God tells us not to covet these things. What is the definition of covet? James 4, Finn, nice and loud. Okay, so as he describes coveting, what is coveting? It's the short answer here, and once again, all these things are listed in, I should look up the page real quick before I say all that. We're getting all of this right out of the catechism here. And so page, where are we at? 115. So this is where we get it if you want to follow along your catechism. But coveting, the idea is this. It's desiring what you do not have. Desiring what you do not have. Desiring what you do not have. Okay, and then the second part is, and scheming to get it. And then I would put in parentheses, Or be angry with God that you don't have it. Be angry with God that you don't have it. Because that plays out in both ways. So coveting is when it's two things. So pay attention up here real quick. So coveting is two things. Coveting is not only saying they have that thing and I want it. I'm angry they have it. But it's also saying they don't deserve that and I do. It's both those things. So it's why it's sinful is this reason. You are saying that God is not a good provider, that God doesn't know. It's kind of like this happens in when you get older in parenting sometimes. When like you get to college, this happened in my life. My sister is terrible with money. And so we went off to college. She was overdrawing her account like every week, and my parents were just like giving her money to bail her out and all this. And I was not, like the best manager of everything financially, but I at least made sure that I had $1 in my account, and I was getting angry at my parents because I was like, you guys just keep bailing her out. And where was I wrong in that? Whose money was it? Was it my money to hand out? Was it any part? But I was upset with my parents as saying, well, how dare you be gracious to them or to her that she doesn't deserve that? I am judging you on your ability to provide, that you're not a good steward of it, that you don't know what you're doing. And in the same way, this sin goes deeper than just, I'm jealous of people. It's a declaration against God. And that's how God talks about it throughout the Bible. It's a declaration against God of, you don't know what you're doing. If you knew what I knew, God, you wouldn't bless that person. If you knew what I knew, God, you wouldn't give them those things. I deserve those things. They don't deserve those things. So you're not being good to me, God, and you're being what's the word I'm looking for? With them. You're being foolish with them. And what you give them. So you're not being good to me because you're not giving me stuff, and you're being foolish with what you're handing out to them because you don't know what you're doing. That's why God hates coveting. Because he's sitting there and he's going, oh, you know better? How many times have you ever had this? In youth, I'm sure you've had this. You have a friend that wants something from you, and yet they're trying to convince you and play you and scheme you to make you think like you don't know what you're doing. Like, if you knew better, you would go ahead and do this. And you're going, like, I know your game. You just want this. And you're trying to make this out to be my issue when this is just yours. And that's what we're doing when we're coveting. And so that's what coveting is. It's saying, God, I deserve this, and they don't. And God goes, you're calling me a bad giver of gifts, and you're a sinner. So, comments or questions on that? Awesome. Then, I would love some participation on this part. What are things that we covet? What are the things that we covet? Adults, you can participate too, and get ready to write your list. And maybe you just start writing your own list. What are the things that we covet in this life? Homes, absolutely. Money, absolutely. Money was yours too? So double money. Yeah. Friendships, that's a huge one. I'm glad you brought that up. How many times do you get jealous because you're like, I really like that person, but like they always hang out with that person, and like if they knew better, I'm a better person than them. Like like we get angry at them because we're like, well, how dare they be friends with them and not me, right? What are some other ones that we covet? Say it again. Yeah, girlfriends and boyfriends, absolutely. Where's jobs? Absolutely. Yeah, how come they get to do that? How come they got that promotion? I deserve that promotion. What are other things that we covet? Cars? Yeah. Clothes? I think we also covet abilities. Like, they're a great athlete. They're a great, musician. They sing and are the lead of the show choir in the play, and we're like, oh, like they're so ungrateful for that. Like, if I had that ability, I would do it so well. I mean, do we not play this games? You know? Like, if I had that strength, if I had that thing, I would handle it so much better. I would be so much better with it than they are. They don't deserve that thing. What are other things that we covet? I think sometimes we covet parents. I wish I had their parents. I wish I had their life. I wish I had their, status, their popularity. I thought I heard one over here. Was there another one? Looks. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Height, If I was Chris Crovey size, I would do so much more with it than he's done. He's wasted his potential. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And I think each one of us individually could probably list one or two that we don't want to say publicly, that we covet about other people. That we all have our own insecurities that we look at others and we are angry that we don't have it, and we're angry that they do. So that's the things that we covet. So how do we break these two commandments, the 9th and 10th commandment? Micah 2. Did I hand that one out or did I skip it? Did somebody say Micah 2? I think I forgot that one. Can somebody look that up real quick? Thank you. Okay, go ahead. Nice and loud. Okay. So how do we break these commandments? It's in two different ways. Hold on. Need to stay open. So there's two ways that we break this commandment. The first one is this, where we are angry that we don't have, so we plot to get it. The first one is that we are angry that we don't have it, so we plot to get it. Well, really, that's the only one, but it plays out in two ways. Because we can talk about materials and then we can talk about people. So let's say materially, it's money, it's their house, it's their clothes, it's their car, whatever it is. What are the ways that we plot to get what's not ours? Scheme to get what's not ours. Peyton? Cheat? Absolutely. Yeah, we'll lie and we'll cheat to get there. Finn? Steal it? Just outright steal it? Sure. But then when you talk about people, the second part is, and this is what Luther hit on, is that we can try and turn people against that person. Where there's the teacher's pet who, and I'm sure you guys never experienced this, where the teacher has a favorite. Do any of your teachers have favorites? How many of you are your teacher's favorite? None of you? Okay. It's always someone else. Amazing. But you can spread rumors about that person when someone else is a friend with them and you want to be best friends with them. How many of you maybe have witnessed someone else like pushing another friend out of the way so that they can be friends with somebody by coming up with rumors or causing drama or trying to do those things? We see all kinds of different ways that we plot to get things, to lure away. And this, you guys, I don't think are much in the dating game at this age yet, but this happens a lot once you get to high school and college of, well, I wanted that boyfriend, and so I'm going to lure him away. I wanted that girlfriend, so I'm going to lure her away, and not respecting what other people's, have. And so when we see this, in Micah 2, it says that verse, it's interesting. It says that they lie in their bed at night plotting. And then when they wake up in the morning, they set out to get what they don't have. How many, can we be honest, how many of us do that? We lie awake at bed at night, plotting about what we don't have, and then when we wake up in the morning, we scheme to go get it. And God's saying, like, this is evil. This is how you break this commandment, is you are not content with what you have, and you're not working to protect what other people have too. Because that's the other part of it. What are ways that we can help protect what people have? What are ways that we can help protect what people have? Anybody? If it's people, if it's friendships, if it's relationships that we speak kindly of, that we protect, that we guard, that we don't, do anything to mess with that. When we see others doing it, we stop. When it's scheming, maybe it's in the workplace, maybe it's, with other things, that when people are saying false things or trying to get scheming, we call that stuff out of saying, like, just stop, be content with what you have. Sure. So, you guys are on spring break, I can tell. Here we go, flip page. Can somebody read Hebrews 13? Who had that one? Nice and loud, Camden. Okay, so we got to keep ourselves free from the love of money and be content with what we have. So how do we become satisfied with what God has provided us? How do we become satisfied with what God has provided us? Does anybody know the answer? We trust that He will give us what we need. We trust that He will give us what we need. How many of you can admit it is hard to be content with what you have? Does anybody have that problem? Yes. Why do we do this? Anybody? Come on, let's make this a little more lively and we can get out of here quick. Why do we do this? Why do we grow? How many of you have, wanted something for Christmas, you get it, and within a week you're bored with it? Like, why does this happen to us? What happens? Anybody? Peyton? Because, we become ungrateful and want something else. I think there's other reasons too, yeah. Why does this happen to all of us? Why do we become discontent with what we have? Okay, because our desires immediately want something else, yeah? Yeah, we want more, we want to be better, yeah? Did you have your hand up? Okay. Anybody else? Maybe an adult weigh in. Yeah, go ahead, Ron. Okay, yeah. I think the problem is this. We use material things to try and fill spiritual things. So, the reason why you want that new shirt is not because you want that new shirt. It's because why?